Shemai guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Lee and this is Lee Runs Ultras. If you are new to the channel, then please do click the subscribe button. For you guys that are subscribed, click that like. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about 3 benefits of MAF and 3 negatives of MAF. Now, MAF is popping up all over YouTube at the moment and people are either massively for it or completely avoid it. It's a bit like Marmite. Myself, I've run a sub 3 hour marathon from MAF training, and there's a few disclaimers that I want to put out there in this video so you guys know exactly what you're getting into before you start MAF training. The first benefit I'm going to talk about MAF, volume. By running at MAF, you can dramatically increase the volume that you run. By this, I mean you can go from running 15 miles a week to running 35, 40 miles a week completely at MAF. So number 1, it increases running volume. How? Because you're running at an easier pace, you're not putting your body through stress, therefore you're not building up the lactic acid, therefore your body is not as fatigued as it would be if you were to go out for a normal run. On the flip side, let's have a look at one negative. It's boring. When I say boring, I mean boring. There will be times where you will feel like chucking your watch, chucking your heart rate monitor and just binning it off and sprinting. When I started MAF, I was walking the slightest inclines. Even stepping up some high curbs, my heart rate would elevate and I would have to walk. But it does get better. First bad point about MAF is it can be boring. The second good point about MAF, it reduces the risk of injury. How do you say it reduces the risk of injury? There was a scientific report that showed that most running injuries happened during a speed session or a harder interval session, whereby the body has built up too much lactic acid, the blood can't pump enough oxygen around and you end up pulling a muscle. With MAF training, you ain't going to be building up any lactic acid. Side note, some of you may have tight calves when you start MAF running. This is because you alter your running technique. You don't need to. You alter your stride automatically and slow it down. You still need to keep that cadence, and we'll talk about stride and running technique in a later video. So it reduces the risk of injury because you're not putting your body through so much stress. The second bad point for MAF. MAF has a cut-off, let's say. So if you're training for MAF for a certain period of time, then you will no doubt get faster. There will become a point where you will get too fast or you'll plateau, which means then you'll have to start incorporating more speed targeted sessions. And many people adopt the 80-20 method, as have I done. Or, as that running guys called it, the MAF max. What that is 80% of your runs are at MAF and 20% of your runs are maximum. Chris is right in what he's saying in regards to people go out and they run their runs, their easy runs, too hard. Even if it's by 10 beats per minute, you're still in the wrong zone. So adopt the MAF max. The third good point about MAF is, speaking from a personal level, I saw progress very, very, very quickly. I managed to run a sub 3 hour marathon from training at MAF, 16-week block twice, so 32 weeks. I run 3:01 the first marathon in Yeovil in 2019, and then I run 2:57 in Gloucester, January 2020, and that was my last race, January 2020. Where's that time gone? If you stay consistent, you stick to it, you don't deviate from the plan, you will see progress quickly. I went, and I'll stick them on screen, I went from July 51 minutes to, this is without looking at Strava, August 47, and then September 44. When I say I went from 51, 47, 44, that's for the 5 mile MAF test, or the 8k MAF test, which I completed every 4 weeks. And then the third bad thing about MAF is it's not good for your ego. I'm going to get some slack for saying this, however, many people are too Strava focused. They're worried about what people will say if they upload a run on Strava that's slower than they usually run. Drop the ego. Many people stop MAF because of ego, because of they're running too slow or they don't feel that it's working. Stick with it. That's all I can say. You'll know when you plateau because your times will come down and they'll hover there. So if you do a MAF test and it's 4:30 per kilometre, and then the next MAF test is 4:31 per kilometre, and then the next MAF test is 4:26 per kilometre, you know you're plateauing, so you need to change it up. Stick with it, you'll see progress pretty fast. To conclude, I think MAF is an absolute no-brainer for new runners, people returning from injury, or if you just want to build a good, solid aerobic base before starting a marathon block. If you have liked this video, please do give us a thumbs up and drop in the comments. Do any of you do MAF? If so, how are you finding it? How long did you stick with it? Or are you just starting out in a MAF journey? And we'll see you now in a minute.